Over the past few days, my wife and I hosted our very first in-person workshop right here where I'm at right now in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, where we taught other entrepreneurs and coaches how to create YouTube videos that attract clients. And it was such an amazing experience that literally changed both of our lives and the lives of everybody that came. But the crazy thing is, it almost never even happened. And so I remember one Saturday we were just sitting together and we just kept talking about, hey, it'd be so cool to eventually do this. And I was like, all right, enough talking about it. Let's actually do something to start putting this into motion. And so I remember I got onto ChatGPT and I was literally just like, hey, this is what we do. And this is the idea that we have. We want to create an event. Help me come up with the outline. These are the days that we want to do it. These are the things that we're interested in. And it literally just started spitting out ideas of, hey, you could do this on Friday, do this on Saturday, do this on Sunday. And I just started tweaking it until we came up kind of with an itinerary that we both agreed on, like, hey, this is a direction that we could go. Maybe this is something that we could pull off. So we put this sample itinerary together, we put a survey together, and we sent it out to our clients and we said, hey, if this was something that we created, is this something that you would be interested in? What are the price points? What other things would you like us to include? And literally what our plan was in the beginning was we just wanted to create a kind of like a networking event for our current clients, where literally we were just coming together, meeting each other in person and just having a really fun weekend together. So we started putting the landing pages together, putting the itinerary together, putting all these things together. Then we had the landing page with the ticket, put it out to our clients. And after all of that time, it really wasn't a lot of time, but after doing all of that, then people started saying, oh, well, these dates don't actually work for me now. I'm actually busy, I have kids, I don't have a passport, all of these different types of things. And so we started getting really bummed because we're like, okay, we came up with an itinerary finally. We came up with a survey. We asked you guys if this is something that you want to do. You guys said, yeah, we put it out, and kind of crickets, like nobody really wanted to join it. I remember it was one Sunday after church, I was telling my wife, I was like, honestly, this feels like I really don't want to do this. It feels like a waste of time. Nobody wants to come. And it just feels like this is going to really be a huge failure. And it just doesn't seem like something that I want to do. And I really want to quit. Part of me feels like if I do it, I will be glad that I did it. But me right now in the present feels like abort mission right now. And I remember she was just like, nah, like we have to stick with it. We have to keep going. Like it's gonna turn out good. Like just because you're frustrated right now, like just stick with the plan. So I'm like, all right. The next day, I had a call with one of my friends, and we had been talking for the past couple of months about him becoming a digital nomad. He wanted to go from the United States and start traveling in different countries just like me and my wife do. And I had given him some advice, and then he sent me a text and he was like, yo, next week, I think he said next week, it was like, next week I'm moving to Colombia. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like it's always amazing when you have a conversation with somebody and then actually take action on that. So he was like, let's get on another call. We'd love to share with you, what I'm up to and what I'm doing, and kind of just thank you for your support along the way on this journey. And so we ended up getting on a Zoom call. We talked about like him moving and becoming a digital nomad and different types of tips. And at the end of the call, he was like, so what are you working on? Is there anything I can help you with? And I was like, man, well, honestly, right now we're working on this event. I don't really want to do it, but it's something that, we've been saying that we wanted to do. And so we're just putting ourselves out there. And he's like, what is it? Like, send me the link. I sent him the link, he looked at it, and then as he was looking at it, he just said, done. And I'm like, done? What do you mean done? And he said, I bought his ticket, bro. I'll see you in Mexico. And he ended up buying, at the time, the most expensive ticket that we had. It's like the VIP ticket. And so it was funny, after I got off of the call, my wife goes, is that like, did I just see a ticket come through? And I'm like, yeah, just one of my friends I was talking to that I never even had an idea of him really being interested in YouTuber coming, ended up buying a ticket. And so we looked at each other like, well, I guess like we're doing it now, right? Like we have like the ticket. And so from there, I started promoting the event more. And it was still pretty much crickets. Nobody was really interested. And what I realized was, in the beginning, we were going to do this event for our members, and it was just going to be a networking event where people get to connect. And what I realized was, now that our members couldn't go, we had to open it up to the public, but just networking isn't their main pain point. We needed to create an in-person workshop or an in-person event that actually solved the pain point that they had. And so I said, okay, networking isn't a primary focus for them right now. It's getting clients from YouTube. And so we started restructuring things and putting it in a way that, hey, this is a workshop where we are actually going to be teaching you something. We're going to teach you how to use YouTube to get clients. But we mixed that in with the networking event that we were going to do, or the networking element that we were going to do with our clients, which included going to like rooftop dinners on the beach. We were going to get a yacht. We were going to do all these types of things. And so we had already put that out there. This is what we're going to do. And so I'm like, man, at the time we were in Budapest, Hungary. And so I'm like, we got to buy 2 tickets to go from Budapest, Hungary to Mexico, which is going to be hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars. We got to get an Airbnb while we're there, while still paying for our place in Budapest, Hungary. We got to get a yacht. We got to get the dinners. Like, we got to promote this thing. I got to create videos. We got to do all these types of things. And so even though we had sold 1 ticket, I was still like, man, this still feels like it's going to be a failure. We're only going to have 1 person, and it's just, people are going to see this and be like, like what were they doing trying to put together an event, and it just looks really stupid. I was just kind of in my feelings at the time about it. But together we just kept talking, like, we have to just have faith that God is going to provide along the way. And it pretty much came down to I think it was like a couple weeks before we needed to actually leave to go to Mexico from Europe. That way we'd be there in time. And we ended up getting, someone saw one of my videos from YouTube. They ended up they were interested in becoming a client. And I said, hey, we're actually doing an in-person workshop, so you could just meet us in person. They ended up getting a ticket. Somebody else that I was talking to on Instagram ended up getting a ticket. Somebody else ended up getting a ticket. And we started having people that were interested in what we're doing, which started giving us the funds that we needed to book the flights, book the Airbnb, and everything like that. So we're getting really excited. We ended up planning the trip to go from Budapest to Vienna, from Vienna to Madrid, from Madrid to Mexico. That way we could break it up. And then on the day, right before we needed to leave, I got really sick. I don't even know what it is. I just had stomach problems, going to the bathroom a lot, wasn't able to eat, super dehydrated, and I was just feeling really bad. And it was difficult because I had to get on one flight. I had to get on a 2-hour train ride to Vienna. Then later I needed to get on a 2 or 3 hour flight to go from Vienna to Madrid. And I was just like, man, how am I going to do this event feeling like this? I was so exhausted that I could like hardly even move. And it just kept feeling like this whole thing is so difficult. And it's just such a big hurdle to overcome. There's just so many obstacles being pushed in our way. But it also made me feel like, hey, this is going to be something special if all of these obstacles are coming in the way, because some force is trying to stop us from doing this, which means if we can just push past all this, something good is going to happen. And so my wife ended up getting me some medicine right before we needed to fly from Madrid to Mexico. I ended up feeling a little bit better. We got to Mexico. We're super excited. We're putting things together. And we had 2 of the people that were going to show up. One said that they were trying to get a passport, but they couldn't get it in time. And the other person, on the day that they were supposed to come to the event, that they're supposed to fly to the event, they ended up losing their passport. And so I'm like, man, we're down to just like 2 people that are going to come. And I started feeling like, man, we're only gonna have 2 people at this event. We did all this just to get 2 people. And I started, what happened was I had some Zoom calls and some meetings scheduled with other people. And what I realized as I was talking to other people is that they had tried to do events and nobody came. They were trying to sell their coaching program, and somebody said that they only had 1 sales call in a whole year. And I realized, like, there's a lot of other coaches out there that are never getting clients, never getting people interested in what they're doing. And just to get 1 person is a big deal. And I remembered even when we did a beta launch in 2020 of our program, and we were only selling it for like $200 or $300. And that was even hard to get 3 or 4 or 5 people. And so I was like, actually, I need to change my perspective. We're getting people to fly in to see us. And yes, if we only have 2 people, that is still a big deal. That is more than most people will ever have, because they're not actually even doing an event. And these 2 people, I need to give them all my attention. And if these people were to pay $100,000 to come, I would be super pumped because like 2 people took me up on an offer. So why don't I just still be excited about that? So I was trying to change my perspective at the last minute. Actually, one of our friends that lives here was able to take the spot of somebody else. And it just really turned into such an amazing event. On the first day, we did a meet and greet at the place that I'm at now, which is actually one of the apartments that we stayed at when we lived here in 2021. We did a meet and greet here. We did some training on becoming clear on your message. And then we went and we had a dinner on the beach. And it was just so cool. It just really opened my eyes to, man, these people really flew in. We're really having dinners together. And it was just an amazing view being able to eat on the beach together and just getting together on that first day. Second day, we came back to our Airbnb and we did some training on coming up with video ideas, filming your videos, how to get a VCA that can edit all of your YouTube videos, edit your thumbnails, how to work with them. Then we took a lunch break, took a little nap after that. Everybody was kind of tired after that. And then we ended up getting on a yacht together and just going on a 2-hour cruise. And this part was so amazing. This was where we were all able to really bond and just seeing the view of the ocean and the music and the food and everything that they had was just really opening all of our eyes to like, wow, look where we are at in life. We're doing something that most people will never get to experience, and it's all because we're able to take a risk, and all because really we just came up with this idea in the first place. And I remember we even thought about trying to save money. We're like, well, maybe if no one's interested, we won't do the yacht thing. But we said, hey, we don't want to sacrifice the quality of this event. Let's go ahead and do it. So the yacht was really fun. After that, we went out to this place for dinner. Didn't know what to expect, but it was actually a really fun time in there. We're waving napkins, smashing plates. Like, it was just a really hyped up energy. So that was like a really fun night where we're all getting together. And then next day, came back for some more training. I taught them about promoting your videos, looking at your analytics, split testing, and then we ended up going to a rooftop club and just hanging out there with the view of the ocean, drinks and food there. And it was just a really cool experience of just getting people together in person rather than online, seeing them bond together, us being able to teach them something that they didn't know, which can then go change their business. And also what I realized on that first day is if we would have been successful in our eyes, we would have had way too many people, because my goal with the training wasn't to just teach them things, it was to make it specific to their niche and what they were doing and to really provide as much value as possible. So on that first day, when we had 2 or 3 people and I was trying to explain everything, I realized, man, if we had 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, 10 people like we really wanted to in the beginning, I wouldn't have had enough time. I wouldn't have been able to go in depth as much. And so by having the amount of people that we had, it was perfect because everybody was able to get asked questions and I was able to go in depth about their specific niche and what they were doing. And that's one thing that I really learned about this was having a smaller, more intimate setting for me is perfect because it really allows me to go in depth. And so in the future, that's what I plan to do, is have these events where they're more intimate. We're gonna charge a little bit more money, but it allows us to really provide them value. And I think a lot of people are missing that in the coaching industry right now because it just feels like people are just trying to take your money, but they're not providing you with a ton of value. And we don't want to be like that. We really want you to feel like, hey, if you're coming to anything that we do, you're gonna get as much value as possible. But the main thing that I learned from this experience of going from having an idea to being scared to do it, to kind of doing it, to not wanting it to do it, to eventually doing it and it really paying off, is that God is constantly giving us ideas. All of us, we're always getting ideas to do this or to do that thing, or hey, what happens if I tested this out or tried that out? But the world, the devil, whoever, we're getting fears also put into our minds, and we start doubting ourselves. We start saying, but what if I fail? What about, we start worrying about what other people will think, and we start thinking about the worst case scenario. And so when that happens, we don't end up doing it. We end up shrinking into ourselves and being afraid to actually take action and do the things that God is actually calling us to do. And what I realized is if instead we would to just accept that yes, these fears exist in our minds, but they're not real, and that 99% of the time, if we just go for it, it not only do those fears not end up being as bad as we thought, but the result ends up being way better than we expected. This event ended up being way better than what we ever imagined. And that's with most of the things that I've done in life that I've been scared to do. When I actually do it, like, man, I'm so glad that I did that. There was nothing actually to be afraid of. Not only that, but you become a better person along the way. It's not just about the end result, but it's the person you become along the way. If we're always scared to take a risk, if we're scared to act on the ideas that God has given us, if we're scared to step outside of our comfort zone, we end up being the same type of person for our whole entire life. And then we get to the end of our life and we have these regrets. But if we can take the ideas that God is giving us and we can say, yes, this is hard. Yes, this is difficult. Yes, this is something that makes me uncomfortable, but we do it anyways, we become such a stronger person along the way. We're able to change our lives. We're able to change other people's lives, and we're able to motivate people with our story. And that's why I wanted to share this story with you, because it's easy for people to see on the outside, oh, they were on a yacht, they had people come, they did all this, and it was so easy for them, because most people on social media aren't sharing their difficulties. But in reality, I was scared. I was fearful. This is something that I didn't want to do. It's outside of my comfort zone. But thankfully, with the help of my wife and prayer, I was able to do it anyways. And it turned out to be such an amazing event, such a life changer. And who knows where this is going to go in the future. And that's why I wanted to document this. Maybe one day we're doing events where we're on stage and there's hundreds of people or thousands of people. And maybe we're in a stadium. I want to be able to play this video and say, look, there was a time where I hosted my very first in-person workshop and I was nervous. I was afraid. I was scared, but I did it anyways, and it ended up being amazing. And you could do the same thing too. So I don't know if maybe you're watching this video because you are curious about in-person workshops, but you've just been scared to do it. If so, I hope this video can inspire you to go and do that thing. Or if you've been nervous about anything, maybe getting on YouTube, starting a business, becoming a digital nomad, whatever it is, I hope this video inspires you to let you know, hey, yes, things are difficult, times are tough, but if you just go for it, 99% of the time, it ends up being way better than you expected. And once you start documenting your journey, you have proof of that. You can look back on that. You could go on my channel and look at other things that I've done in my life where I was super afraid about them. I didn't know I was gonna work out, but I had faith in God and it ended up working out way better than I expected. So hope that this video can motivate you to do the same thing. And if you have any questions about hosting an in-person workshop, I'm not an expert on it, but I can answer the questions about what we did, what worked for us, and what we plan on doing in the future. So if you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments. Also, if you would be interested in going to one of our in-person workshops in the future, follow me on Instagram. My handle is @dgreen, and I will be posting there about any other workshops that we do in the future that you can attend. As always, I hope that this video was really valuable to you. I hope it inspired you. I hope it motivated you. I hope it uplifted you. And I hope that you are, because of you watching this video, you're able to change your life and you're able to do something just like we were able to do with hosting it, going from being scared to host this event to actually hosting it and seeing the fruits of our labor. Also, if you enjoyed this story, there is another video that I did on YouTube of how I even became a high ticket coach in the first place and how I became a digital nomad that might interest you as well. So I'll make sure that my team tags this video or puts the link in the description box so that you can check that out too. That's an amazing and crazy story as well. So if you like these types of inspirational messages and videos from me, check that out as well. Like I said, I appreciate you tuning in and love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.